What I have here is just a generic looking piece of metal, and when I shove it into this other generic piece of metal, something interesting should start to happen. More specifically, a little bit of goo should start to appear, and after pressing them together for several minutes, the one on the left actually started to fall apart. There was also clearly some liquid metal that was starting to form, and this was happening because these two generic metals were actually gallium and indium, and when they mix, they form an alloy that's liquid at room temperature. This process was taking a lot longer than I expected, though, so to speed it up, I decided to blast it with a heat gun, and eventually, when it was a nice and crusty puddle, I also decided to toss in some tin. This was because, with the added tin, it was supposed to make a potentially better alloy called Gallinstan, which should be able to stay a liquid all the way down to negative 19°C or negative 2 Fahrenheit, instead of just around room temperature, and at least in theory, this should make it a lot more like mercury. Right now, though, it really didn't look like mercury because it was all stuck to the glass, so I added some dilute acid to separate it, which actually worked pretty well. I then transferred it all to a syringe, and when I squished it through some cotton, what came out was some really nice and shiny liquid metal. In my opinion, it also did look almost exactly the same as mercury, where on its own like this, I think that it's really hard to tell the difference, and I think that's pretty cool.